Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel. This is Prime Productions, a new YouTube channel. So please bear with me as I figure things out. Today is going to be the fourth in a series of short YouTube videos describing how to play Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I know a lot of you want to get to character creation and that video should come out next, but I feel like we need a little more foundation underneath us before we get to actual character creation, and that is understanding skills. Today I'm going to remind you how the basics of skills work and then go over each skill individually in a quick fashion, and then we'll talk about something in Pathfinder that are similar to skills but technically distinct from them. As a quick reminder, skills work like this. First of all, you have to remember the proficiency system that I mentioned in video 2. If you are trained in a skill, you get a bonus to that skill that is equal to 2 plus your character's level. Expert is 4 plus your level, Master is 6, and Legendary is 8. There is an easy place to mark this on your character sheet. This number, whatever it is called your proficiency bonus. As your character gains levels, they can choose to level up certain skills from trained to expert to master and so on. Next, using a skill is just a matter of adding a few numbers together and checking that number against a set number. Say your character wants to jump a gap. Your GM will tell you what skill to use. In this case, jumping a gap is almost always going to be an athletics check. Athletics, the skill, is related to the strength attribute. So, you check your character sheet and see that you are trained in athletics. You add your strength to your proficiency bonus to athletics together. You also add any bonuses or penalties for any, say, magic items or penalties for being tired. Then you take that number, add it to the result of a 20-sided die roll, and see if you beat the target number, which is called the difficulty class or DC. Beat the number by 10 or more, and you do spectacularly well. Fail the number by 10 or more, and you do spectacularly badly. Okay, so we've got that out of the way. Now we can talk about skills in Pathfinder. Like in Dungeons & Dragons, each skill has a brief description as to when you can use it. However, unlike D&D, each skill also has a set of actions associated with it that are written down in the player's handbook, or Player Core 1 in the remaster. So, any player can look up the actions that they would like to take on their turn. For example, the rules for picking a lock are under the Thievery skill, and any player can look them up at any time to see exactly how they work. The GM is, of course, allowed to change these activities if they wish, but these are the activities as they should be run by default. Also, a GM is allowed to declare if you can use one of a few skills if multiple skills would apply in any situation. I'm not going to go through every activity that every skill can do, but you can look them up on Archives of Nethys, link in the description. Okay, so now a brief overview of each skill. Acrobatics is a dexterity-based skill and covers anything that involves gross motor function or making large general movements. So yes, it covers balancing, somersaults, cartwheels, and backflips, but it also covers trying to scramble up a muddy incline or not falling down as you walk across ice. Arcana is an intelligence-based skill that is related to knowing things about arcane or wizardly magic. There are 4 types of magic in Pathfinder, and we will cover them in a later video, but arcane magic is generally the magic of energy, matter, and mind manipulation. Notably, the arcane skill doesn't let you cast spells, it just lets you know about them. Arcana also lets you know about arcane creatures, such as creatures created by magic, and it also lets you identify wizardly magic items. Athletics is the strength counterpart to acrobatics, and it covers physical activities that rely on strength, such as climbing, jumping, and swimming. It also covers several combat abilities like wrestling and grabbing an opponent's weapon. Crafting is a skill that is not in Dungeons & Dragons. It is an intelligence-based skill that relates to building things and analyzing things that were crafted by mortal hands. Building items, analyzing crafted items, and analyzing clockwork monsters are all under the crafting skill. You can also use the skill to make magic items, but that requires a few more abilities than just having the skill. Deception is a charisma-based skill that is based on lying, but also trickery. Deception covers not just lying, but also feinting in combat and doing other things that are subterfuge, including making a distraction which might make it easier for a friend to sneak around. Diplomacy as a skill is what D&D players would call persuasion. It is a charisma-based skill, and it covers talking nicely, or at least reasonably, to people. If you want to convince someone of your point of view through being nice or honest debate, diplomacy is the skill for you. It also covers gathering information by walking around town and asking questions. Intimidation is another charisma skill, and it is the mean variant of diplomacy. It is for verbal bullying and yelling at others and telling them to do what you want them to do. It's also the skill used for veiled threats and can sometimes be used to project an air of strength or confidence. Lore is not a specific skill, though it is intelligence-based. There is no single lore skill. Instead, you pick a topic, and the lore skill means you know about that topic. The topic can't be so vague as to encompass a whole different skill. For example, you can't have the whole universe lore. Lore skills usually involve one profession, such as carpentry lore, a hobby, such as gaming lore, or lore about a specific city. There can also be lores about non-human ancestries like elf lore, a biome such as forest lore, or a type of monster such as undead lore. And yes, you can pick up multiple different lore skills. Lore skills can be used to answer questions about that field, but can also be used to do activities related to the lore. For example, someone with labor lore could roll that instead of athletics to do a hard day of manual labor. Because lore skills tend to be so niche, the difficulty of the lore check tends to be lower than other skill checks as a sort of reward to the player for having the right lore skill. For example, the difficulty of doing a hard day's work might be an athletics check of 17, but the same check might only be a labor lore skill of 15. Medicine is a wisdom-based skill that represents treating wounds and helping those in need medically. You can use it to do emergency field triage, but you can also use it to answer questions about medicine or perform autopsies. The medicine skill is very powerful because it can, with enough time, allow parties to fully heal between fights. Nature is a wisdom skill that is kind of a catch-all and very broad. It covers knowledge about the natural world, including nature's creatures like bears and sharks, of course. However, it also covers primal magic, which is nature magic. Primal magic is based on the manipulation of matter, energy, and life, and also encompasses knowledge about the Fey realm, elemental realms, and elementals. As with all magic skills, just having the skill doesn't give you the ability to cast magic, just know about it. Occultism is an intelligence-based skill around one of the 4 other types of magic in Pathfinder. Occultism is the magic based around mind and spirit manipulation. It is magic that is poorly understood. The magic of promises, curses, music, and dark entities beyond mortal ken. Basically, if a wizard doesn't understand where magic comes from, it's probably occult magic. Also, it is the skill used to identify occult magic items and dark Cthulhian nightmare creatures from beyond the mortal realm. Because it is associated with the poorly understood magic of music, it is the magic of bards. As with all magic skills, just having the skill doesn't give you the ability to cast magic, just know about it. Performance is a charisma-based skill that covers all the forms of performance, from telling comedy to playing any musical instrument to dancing to oration. I know it's unbelievable that anyone who's put even a little effort into perform can perform in any of those fashions, but hey, some people can do it. Religion is a wisdom-based skill that covers not only knowledge of the various different gods and their religions, but also divine spellcasting tradition. The divine spellcasting tradition is one that deals with life and spirit. It also covers the knowledge of the angelic and fiendish realms and the denizens of each. Also, it covers the knowledge of undead. As with all magic skills, just having the skill doesn't give you the ability to cast magic, just know about it. Society is another catch-all skill. This time it is intelligence-based. It covers the knowledge of politics, political structures, major historical figures, works of art, but also covers language, culture, games, and how to act in social situations. Oh, and it also covers the knowledge and the ability to identify humanoid-type creatures such as humans, goblins, and giants. Stealth is a dexterity-based skill, and it does exactly what you think it does. It lets you hide. It also covers knowledge about hiding, such as figuring out where good hiding places might be, and the most likely spots for others to hide something. It's also used for stashing things, not just hiding yourself. Survival is a wisdom-based skill all about, well, surviving. While the nature skill lets you know about the life cycle of a plant, survival lets you know if it's safe to eat and where to find it. Survival is also used for tracking or for covering up your tracks if you don't want to be followed. The last skill is thievery, and it is a dexterity skill that is another catch-all. It's used for both sleight of hand, like stage magic, or picking pockets, but it's also the skill used to disarm traps and locks. It's also the default skill used for fine motor control, like writing with a steady hand or doing fine detailing in craftsmanship. And those are the skills. It's important to note that sometimes more than one skill is applicable in any situation, in which case the GM can let the player roll one of many skills, player's choice. For example, if the player wanted to know about a magically animated clockwork monster that is attacking the party, a party member might be able to roll either Arcana because it's magically animated, or Crafting because it was made out of clockwork. For almost every role, there is at least one lore skill that could also work in addition to any other skill. In the previous example, clockwork lore would also be applicable. One last thing to talk about is perception. Perception is used for spotting hidden things and also taking social cues to see if someone is lying to you. It acts as a wisdom-based skill in Pathfinder in all ways except one. It has levels like trained, expert, master, and legendary, just like skills. It is calculated just like other skills, everything. The only difference is that all classes automatically start off trained in perception, and some even start off expert in it. You also cannot choose when you level up perception. You see, with all other skills, every so often you get the chance to level up a skill from trained to expert, expert to master, and so on. You cannot choose when to level up perception. Instead, it levels up whenever your class tells you it levels up. So rogues who need perception to find and disarm those traps level up perception rather quickly, whereas wizards who don't need to be terribly perceptive level up the ability slower. Okay, that's it for skills. I promise next time we'll actually start making a character. Once again, I'm new to this YouTube thing and I'm trying to make a go of it, so any comments, likes, or subscribes would really help this channel out and tell YouTube that you would like to see more of this content. Thank you, good day, and happy gaming!